I have recorded so many iterations of this voiceover. Some of them because I messed up halfway through, and then some of them just because I couldn't find the right words to say. And really, what is there to say? For those of you who aren't familiar, outside of Wings of Fire, outside of Warrior Cats, outside of any of the fandoms represented on my channel, I have my own story. It's called Eclipse Rising. It's about this wolf, Echo, who, strains too far with her powers and ends up finding this, demon guy called 22 and gets possessed and then goes, on a rampage and stuff like that. But it's also about mental health and the struggles that come with that. I don't talk about it on the channel much, just because it's not what I involve myself in mostly. Most of my time is spent with maps and Wings of Fire, and giving back to the community that's given me so much that I just never find the time to do something for myself. But just this once, I wanted to dedicate a video to my book series. I've always called it my unfinished symphony, which sounds really, really angsty and stuff like that, but in my mind, it's true. I don't think Eclipse Rising will ever be quote-unquote finished. I may finish a draft for the book, but the plot will always be changing, because I'll always be changing. But I just wanted to draw the cover. If you want to read a little snippet of the book, I have 5 chapters and a prologue done that you can read in the description. But just for now, I wanted to just talk about the book, talk about, what it means to me, and yeah. So it all starts in a palace, and that palace is kind of owned by this one person called Emily, which there's a backstory behind her name. I'm not going to get into it just for time's sake. But Emily is the ruler of a kingdom called Utopia. She has friends. They're also rulers. They have their own kingdoms to attend to, one of which is Neon. Neon is dragon. There's humans, there's dragons, and there are, of course, furries in this world. Neon is the ruler over this sanctuary planet, fittingly called Sanctuary. She takes in refugees that have been displaced by things like supernovas and just general climate issues. If their village isn't able to be lived in, they can live in Sanctuary for some time until they get back on their feet. Hellfire is Neon's mate. He is technically the king, but he always refers to himself as a prince, because to him, Neon's the only ruler Sanctuary ever needs. They do well together. They love each other very much. Another important character to keep in mind is Sidios. Sidios is a gray tiger. And what Sidios does is they are the captain of the Sun Knights, which is a group of guards that do their best to protect Utopia. Utopia is where Emily rules over. Sidios is hardened. They're not cruel, but they won't take any sort of smack talk or anything like that. If you have words, you better back them up. They care a lot about their charge. They care a lot about their girlfriend, Sketch, which I didn't draw. Oops, sorry. But Sidios has, a hatred inside of them, and that hatred is for the main character. I call Echo the main character because this whole entire story revolves around them. They may not be the point of view character much. I believe only maybe 5 times, give or take, within the book it actually shows their point of view. But without Echo, this book would not happen. At all. They are the reason. Echo is this little white wolf. She's frail. Well, not really strong in any way. She keeps to herself. She's introverted. She hates loud noises. She got bullied a lot. She came into this world kind of fully formed. She just popped into existence. She didn't know what was going on or who to trust or she didn't even know how to talk. She lived in the woods for some time until Emily found her and gifted her a porcelain mask. That mask helped limit her powers, which Echo didn't know how to control. She was just a kid. And Echo can, access the afterlife. It's called the Dream Realm. It's where you go when you dream, but also when you die. The people in your dreams are typically the souls of the undead in Eclipse Rising canon. But this all kind of comes into play when Echo just feels like something isn't right in the Dream Realm. She's hearing whispers, and Emily talks to her. She tells her not to strain herself, but Echo, of course, does it anyways because it's her job, and she gets into trouble. That's when you meet 22, the main antagonist. Probably a villain. I refer to him as an antagonist. He's a villain, though. 22 is this being made of shadows. His eyes glow white, and he is terrifying. When Echo first lays eyes on him, he's crouched over this dead body and, just looming there. And, of course, 22 has his own story. He has his own reasons. He was a part of this race, fittingly called the Beings, that were created as essentially the world's greatest super soldiers. They had a hive mind, but 22 escaped it. And with that, the rest of the hive mind broke apart. The Beings were able to think for themselves, and they were angry. They were so angry, and they went on a rampage. And there's this whole backstory with that. It'll be clear someday. But 22 ends up taking over Echo's mind, and that is disastrous. Echo slowly breaks down over his influence. She can't resist his orders. She can't put up a fight against him. And she slowly loses herself. She hurts her friends. She just does a lot of shit, man. And the whole book is kind of, I guess, I can't remember if I already mentioned it in this recording, but this whole book was written primarily as kind of an allegory for mental health, which is also something I do not really typically bring up on my channel. But I think it's really important to have this kind of story. You see it in this musical called Pippin, which doesn't really let you know that it's about mental health until the very end. And you're seeing it now again with The Amazing Digital Circus, which is a phenomenal piece of media that goes deep into mental health topics, even if the fandom doesn't really see it that way, typically. I think it's important to have this kind of story because I know that when I was younger and when I was going through the things that have hurt me now in the present, if I had had a story like this, I don't think I would have been so scared. I could have sat down and read it and recognized it. Eclipse Rising, it sucks to say, but I wouldn't really say it's a story about healing. You never really see the characters heal. They do heal. I promise you that. As the author, I promise you that. But it's off page. It's in the end. And you don't see that. So I'd say that Eclipse Rising is more about the main thing that I want people to get out of my book is that you can make it through. Whatever's happening, whatever's going on, it's not the end. You are strong, you can fight, you can do everything, and you will make it through. My favorite YouTuber, The Click, has said this on occasion, and it's always stuck with me, but the worst days in your life are already behind you, and you've made it through them. So just make it through one more, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this is my book. That's the reason I made it. It's gone through so many changes. It was originally a science fiction story. 22 was originally bald. So many things and so many So many iterations. Hell, I've remade this cover, I think, like 3 times, and this is the only time that I managed to finish it. But yeah, I'm yammering. But yeah, that's my book. Happy 5th anniversary. In the 5 years since I've made it, I've accomplished so much, and I've been through so much. I got into my dream college that I didn't even know was my dream college until I toured it. I am currently pursuing a bachelor's in biology, which is an absolutely insane thing to say when I'm, animating almost 24/7. I've made so many friends. I've built this channel twice now. This is my 2nd one. Hooray. I've helped create a wide-spanning AU. Shout out Helmer. I've hosted 3 maps, and I'm hosting a 4th. I can't believe that. Everything I've done and everything that's come out of it has been due to the support of my friends. And Eclipse Rising is no different. I would not have continued the story if not for, people that would send me things and be like, oh, this is so 22 core. Or the people who would stay up until like 4 a.m. on call with me asking questions and just letting me respond and talk. Those are the real heroes. Those are the real reason Eclipse Rising exists. So, thank you guys. Especially, oh my god, I have to give him a shout out, dude. What guy, if you're watching this, you have seen these bricks being placed. You have been there brick by brick since the beginning. You are insane. Thank you for sticking with the story. But, yeah, there are so many people in my life that I didn't know would relate to the story or would have an interest at all, and just thank you. You guys affirm the reason that I create Eclipse Rising, so that other people can see it and just have that sort of story just in their lives. I don't know. I'm yapping. This is probably gonna be longer than the Speedpaint. I'll have to... Oh god, it's 12 minutes. Ooh! I'll have to pad time, but it's fine. But anyways, TLDR, this is why I shouldn't do videos without scripts. It's 5 years. 5 years, that's Ukraine. Ukraine? It's insane. My book could be in preschool, which is terrifying. But no matter when you've joined me on this like weird little journey, whether it was when I was still creating the characters themselves, when I was workshopping the plot, or even if it's your first time seeing this video, thank you. I just hope that one day I'll be able to deliver the story as it's meant to be, and just somewhere out there, a kid's gonna read it and just realize that they aren't alone. But yeah. Happy 5 years. Yay!